Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have another unbelievable best of 5 here at the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. I am Jarisar, and joining me on the experts panel here for this particular matchup, we have Kevin QXC Riley and Kevin number 2 Harstem over here.
You don't know my last name.
Kevin de Koenig, Harstem at the end of the table, but Kevin number 2 for all intents and purposes. The K's, as Apollo calls us. We need to find a way to troll him back, actually. I'm still working on that one.
I mean, I think Apollo did a very good job of trolling himself yesterday.
Go to Twitter, #DerPolo.
Where he went on about a 3-minute rant about how the series had ended after the first map. That was fantastic. And he had almost everybody convinced.
I did. I was like flipping through my notes going, oh my god, he might be right. I swear this is game 1. What's going on?
Like, what happened in game 2?
Don't agree with him as well. Like, yeah.
But guys, seriously, we're going to have some player introductions in a sec, so we don't have much time. An incredible match here. Stephano, PartinG, score predictions.
PartinG, 3-1.
PartinG, 3-2.
We're not rooting for Stephano here.
It's PartinG.
I think Stephano might be able to do it.
I think PartinG would have won on Wings of Liberty. And Stephano, I think PartinG practiced more Heart of the Swarm than Stephano did.
Well, we'll see what the players themselves think.
You don't agree?
No?
Based on what I heard through the whispers of the wind, that may not be true. But I don't know how reliable the wind is.
Well, we have a lot of people rooting for Stephano here, and I have some belief that I think he might be able to pull it off. We'll see what the players themselves think, though, as we head over to Rachel on main stage for some introductions.
Thanks so much, guys. I don't know, Protoss seems to be celebrating right now. If you can see behind me, there's a bit of a Protoss party going on around Mana. They're all watching his last game. But anyway, we have another PVZ for you. So please help me welcome onto the stage from Team Evil Geniuses, our Zerg Stephano. Take a minute, bask in it. Okay. And now, representing SK Telecom T1, please welcome PartinG. Stephano, your style was evolving game to game yesterday. Did you go home and figure out any new units? Are you going to include some new ones today? Maybe some swarm hosts?
Let's say I kind of learned during the games and not before the games, so maybe I will find out something totally different during this series. Let's see.
I look forward to your innovations. PartinG, are you ready to run Soul Train on Stephano?
다들 PartinG 선수의 특유 빌드로 이길 자신 있냐고.
한번 보여주는 것도 나쁘지 않을 것 같아요. 한번 보여주는 것도 나쁘지 않을 것 같아요.
He thinks it's a good idea to show it to Stephano.
All right, well, let's see how good that idea turns out to be. Gentlemen, please shake hands. I'm going to send it back to our casters.
Find out very shortly what PartinG plans on showing Stephano here in this best of 5 series. The starting map is going to be Ohana. Are there any particular strategies you guys are excited to see from either player here? Stephano's still saying he might discover something interesting during the series. We have our own theories as to how much practice he's actually been getting in. Do you think there's something in particular he's going to do here?
I want to see Vipers, and I want to see Swarm Hosts, and I want to see Ultralisk.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to get that far into the game. As some people might know, Ohana is the map where we Protoss players normally all in with Immortals and Sentries. 7 gates behind it, War Prism, 3 Immortals. Let's go.
Soul Train.
Soul Train, and PartinG is known for it. So I think we might, if we're going to see an Immortal all in, might be this map.
To PartinG's credit, though, there have been a lot of tournaments recently where pretty much everyone commentating the games have been like, okay, it's PartinG, we're going to see a Soul Train at some point today. And he's actually gone on to do different strategies. Now, admittedly, this is Heart of the Swarm, and it's a completely different beast. Do you think he's going to bring it back? Like, what are the pros and cons of doing a similar style all-in build now that the expansion is out?
Well, with the time warp ability, it's way easier to defend or to be offensive. The roads are going to be really slow. It's harder to flank. Stephano always loves to defend Immortal and with flanking from 3 or 4 sides with roaches. I think it's a really good style, but with the time warp, you have more time to force field properly. On the other hand, like I mentioned earlier, Hydras now are a good counter against two base builds that hit around 930, even 10 minutes. Hydras have way higher DPS, and they were good against this in Wings of Liberty, but then you didn't have a follow-up. Now you can just follow up with Vipers, and you have a good mid-game, and can transition into late game. So, yeah, I just think it's about an even trade-off. Maybe with the time warp and the ability to recall, the Soul Train actually got a bit stronger than it was in Wings of Liberty.
Okay, so we'll see if it ends up being quite that strong. This is going to be pretty interesting to watch. Will PartinG come out with an all-in? Is he going to play a more macro-based play, which we've seen in some other tournaments, of course, before this one? QXC, do you have any particular idea on what either player is going to do here? Or,
I mean, this is, like Harsum said, this is a map that we very commonly see these all-ins on. So I don't know. I don't know what's going through PartinG's head. These players have played each other in the past, so he may take that into account when making his decision on what strategy to use.
all right, let's see if an all-in ends up happening here. We're going to find out what strategies these players have in store as we throw it over to our commentators. For map number 1 on Ohana, we have Kalaris and Todd.
Thanks very much, guys. It's got a little bit chilly in here. Decided to suit on up as we do have a very, very classy game on the way here. PartinG versus Stephano. Todd, I'm sure you're pretty excited as well.
Oh yeah, I am. Great matchup. And what a better map than Ohana to start it on. I know that Protoss it's one of their favorite maps to play on against Zerg, but Stephano will not mind too much either, I'm sure.
And we're going to be jumping into our first game here. Ohana is our map. Round of 16 between PartinG and Stephano. Let's get right on in. As we do have, spawning up to our top left-hand corner here as our red Protoss, given the GLHF handsome man. He goes by the name of SK-T1's PartinG. And spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner as our blue Zerg. He is none other than EG Stephano Recall.
And I totally agree with the analyst desk with the realistic chance here of seeing a 1-1-1 push. You know, PartinG, he was doing this a lot. He's definitely been doing this a lot less, and it's going to be as strong, hint harder the swarm, or even better, if you can have a time warp, a mothership core with your army to slow down the reinforcements or really control a small part between that natural and third base of the Zerg, you're going to do very well.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, PartinG well known for that kind of style, but coming to Stephano here, I actually spoke to him previously, and he actually told me that he's played around 10 hours gameplay time of Heart of the Swarm right now, which actually, I mean, we assumed that he just hadn't played that much, and he said that, but...
Who said that, PartinG?
Stephano, sorry.
Oh, okay.
10 hours worth of gameplay time in Heart of the Swarm, so it's really not that much in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, that's what he said in an interview earlier, I think, but pretty sure he streamed even more than that, so who knows. Maybe he felt he hadn't played enough and it was about 10 hours. Maybe he was lost in time.
No, he's just trolling me, man. That's what Stephano does. But anyway, for now, Nexus is on the way here for PartinG, as he just opens up with Nexus first. Love to see Gateway, but I mean, Forge is probably going to be the case, and there we go.
And I like the way he has done it. Nexus 17 followed by Forge in the main, no scouts. This Nexus is so fast. If the Zerg plays greedy, I mean, he's going to be on equal grounds, but most Zergs, they go for a pull first and follow it with a hatchery. So usually you're going to be able to be in a good position as Protoss, but Stephano here, he's gone for the hatch first. He followed this with a pull. He's going to be in a decent situation as long as he can put down a very quick third hatch on his third base, and PartinG doesn't prevent it. And it doesn't look like PartinG wants to scout or try to block anything here. He's just going to leave his probe at the watchtower, making sure that no links are headed his way. He does not want to lose any more minerals than he's lost so far. And I think soon he's going to come back into his main and most likely start mining with this one probe.
Maybe. I mean, just a very, very economical opening here from PartinG, as for now, Stephano behind all of this. Grabs himself that third hatchery, really not flustered by that, but actually, that probe from the watchtower, he's moving on out. He wants to see that third base. Just get confirmation, play a little bit safer, make sure Stephano isn't doing something too radical and out of the realm of possibility.
And Stephano, he preferred to start 2 queens before throwing down that third hatchery. I actually agree with this. I think he's going to be able to start injecting as soon as possible if he does that. He's actually already sending an overlord by the ramp of PartinG, just poking in. He knows that by now there cannot be any stalkers out on the map, and it's going to be safe. There was nothing to see here. It was more of a, hey, you know, I'm here and I can see you, more than anything.
And for now, just have extra drones on the way here for Stephano. Not really too crazy a build. As for now, CeBIT is caught on the way for PartinG. So PartinG's just, we're yet to see what he's really going to decide here. We can't really tell until some more little occurrences happen, like what time his gases are going down. Is he going to start +1 weapons? He's saved up a lot of gas, so it looks like no +1 weapons for now.
And Stephano cutting a corner here a little bit. We used to see Zergs get 4 Zerglings at least as soon as their pool was out, just to do some scouting, take some control of those watchtowers. But Stephano, he's made only 2, and he's put no effort into taking the watchtower on PartinG's side of the map. So PartinG right now, he knows he's very safe. He's actually going to throw down that very quick robotics facility, and he's going to the for the gas at his expansion before the 6 minute. I think the 1-1-1, the Soul Train is on the way here, Kelaris.
Seems so. He wasn't fooling when he said he would show him it in the small interview before the before everything. But I mean, technically he could be anticipating his opponent trying to scout it and then faking out. But this has all the hallmarks of this kind of play. The 2 gateways on the way here just to reinforce a little bit, get a few sentries out maybe.
And PartinG's build here is so crisp. He knows exactly when he needs to do something and when he's going to do it. And you see, he always has 16 mineral probes at his expansion. Oh, is Stephano going to be able to see the robo? I think he is.
Yeah.
And Stephano should be able to realize very early on here what's going on. He's going to have to make a choice. And I think his choice of units is just going to be Zerglings and Roaches. He has to start the lair because obviously he's going to need road speed later on.
Yeah.
And PartinG, you see, he's already thinking ahead. He's making his buildings up his ramp. If Stephano goes into a base trade and tries to attack the expansion of Stephano as he gets attacked, PartinG will just sack his expansion, make a couple cannons and sentries up his ramp, and not let Stephano into his main ever.
And these are pretty much going to be the last drones that we see out of Stephano here for now, or at least one would hope, as he will need to rally a lot of units here to the defense of this push that is going to be imminent here from PartinG as he throws down 3 extra gateways, cranking out those sentries, cranking out those immortals. That's a lot of gateways. PartinG is just, you know, he's happy for seemingly happy for his opponents to know about it. He's just going to go for it, and it hits like a sledgehammer. It's really, really strong. But Stephano has held this time and time again.
And PartinG is going to get the Mothership Core right after starting his 3rd Immortal. Right now he's trying to build up his sentry count. You need to warp sentries and zealots until you're up to around 10 sentries. After that, you're going to start warping in stalkers. And PartinG's force field really his strength in this game. One of his best feats overall. He's going to have to hit very good ones against Stephano here if he wants this to work. We see the Warp Prism being queued in the robotics facility. And he started playing differently with this push later on in Wings of Liberty, whereas he started going for those proxy pylons. Instead of just bringing a Warp Prism, he makes those proxy pylons, he reinforces with them, and he uses the Warp Prism to save his Immortals in case they're in trouble.
Yeah, really, really good micro can occur here from people like PartinG. We saw it time and time again in the WCS series hosted by Blizzard. But for now, he's pushing on out. He's making sure that those roaches do not hinder him whatsoever in his advancement. And as you know, as is normal, Observer is on the way behind that Warp Prism just to make sure no crazy burrow tactics can hurt him here.
Oh, and I love that move. He sent the Mothership Core forward to see how much units Stephano had and where they were. And right now he's trying to get the best engagement possible. Kelaris, we're about to have an engagement.
Yeah, and the rocks have been taken down, but the time warp goes down as well here. He separates these units phenomenally to kick things off with the force fields at the front as well to make sure that those roaches could not hinder him from beyond. But there you go, actually. Still great force fields coupled with the already existing ones here. A lot of roaches have already died off here, and he's warping in a lot more. This army is so potent, but +1 is on the way for Stephano. That needs to come out here as well as extra roaches on the way. Still coming in from both flanks. Really needs a few more force fields. He's actually been forced to spend a lot of force fields here so far.
Yeah, the first few force fields below his army did not help the fight. He did not trap anything, but we have Stephano moving in.
That fantastic sentry micro there as well as picking up a few Immortals once again. They've all been alive for so long. PartinG has lost very, very little here in comparison to Stephano, who has lost so much. 4,200 minerals resources been lost here for Stephano. He doesn't have that many force fields left. I just think he has so much brute force, so much micro in that Warp Prism that he can constantly push this back. More roaches die off, separating it with the few force fields he has left. And PartinG's looking phenomenal.
Yeah, PartinG's micro in this fight has been great thus far, and Stephano is going for some more fighting here, but he really needs to buy himself some time if he wants to be able to get enough units to fight against this huge army of PartinG. Look, there is nearly no sentries, but he has so many Stalkers and Immortals.
It's scaling out of control here now for Stephano. The sentries have positioned themselves nicely against this ramp so they can throw force fields down there if they want to. The time warp once again forcing those roaches back, so if he were to push in, he could separate those off very easily, as well as they're so much slower, so much damage from PartinG. Stephano forced to pull off the drones. He is in trouble. He knows it as well. He goes down in terms of supply. GG for game number 1.
Choo-choo. The train is en route. The soul train.
I knew it was coming for so long, and yet PartinG's decision-making with the force fields prevails over sheer mass by Stephano. PartinG, he has so many options in Heart of the Swarm, but why fix what isn't broken?
I like the way you put it, but I think it's nice to open a series with this, because right now Stephano, he has fear in his eye. He's going to be thinking about, can PartinG do this again? Is he going to do it again? And PartinG, he can mix it up from there. How he can do it again? I mean, it's worked. True. And Stephano is going to start with a quick loss here. Yeah,
he's going to recover his position here, but we, for now, are going to send it over to the analysts for Game 1 with Jarosar, QXE, and Harstem.
Well, guys, it was predicted. I mean, if any map for the Soul Train, it looks like it did make an appearance, and he did it very, very well. It's worth noting that we'll see a little bit later on that Stephano was doing his best to bait out as many force fields as he could at the start of the engagement, but it just wasn't quite enough.
Yeah, I felt like Stephano should have cut a few drones. He went up to 60. In the past, he used to cut at 53 or 55. I can't really remember, one of those two numbers. And then he would engage way earlier. Like the moment PartinG left his base, then he would engage with roaches, swarm, then pull back. Even before roach speed, off creep, just at the base of PartinG to bait 6, 4, 5 force fields, something like that. So at a certain point in the battle, which we're going to see a bit later, it was really close with the amount of force field that PartinG had left, and if Stephano baited out those force fields earlier, I think Stephano would have actually been fine. So,
anything to add to that, QXE?
No, Stephano did a good job of scouting this, seeing it coming, preparing for it, but in the end, PartinG's control was just too good. We're going to go into the replay here, and...
Yep, let's head straight on in. This is around the 9.5-minute mark where we can see the engagement begin.
Yeah, so here we do see what I mentioned earlier, that Stephano is baiting out those force fields really well. I didn't like the decision of going a bit back. I feel like if you stay in this area with your roaches, it's easier to engage from the back, and he has to stay over here, I guess, or he even has to move back a little bit, because it's going to be really hard if you're over here and there are roaches coming from here, and if he moves his roaches like this, then he's going to have a pretty big angle to engage. You need four force fields to close off this, and 3 or 4 to close off this, and then 3 or 4 more to close off the front. So you can't do that twice. It's only going to be a one-time thing. I didn't like the decision to go back with the roaches this far. He didn't have a ton of units, but I think he had enough to at least hold this position. The pylon isn't up yet. He doesn't really have money for a warp in at this moment. And then Stephano is in a bit of a weird position because PartinG used the time warp to force field, and those roaches are basically useless. Those roaches want to engage, but they really can't at this point, I feel like.
Yep. You can see here Stephano trying to lose just a minimal number of units, baiting out the force field. Forces PartinG to use a whole lot of force fields. The roaches get a little bit too close here. And that's really the key to defending this, is once your opponent runs out of force field, as long as you haven't taken too many losses, you should be able to swarm, overwhelm, get the angle that you need, and take the fight.
Yeah, and at this point, Stephano wanted to go for an engagement. I thought that it was actually going quite well. He killed off a ton of sentries, but yeah, the control with the Warp Prism by PartinG is just so good. And once the supply equals in an Immortal win, you know it's not going well.
Yeah, for sure. PartinG did a really good job of lifting those sentries as the roaches were attacking them, which was really nice. The roach attack is a projectile, so if the roach has started attacking the projectiles on the way, obviously it's not a long time, but for range, there's still some time there. You pick the sentry up, and that roach doesn't do any damage at all.
All right, so we'll see what PartinG has in store for us. The next map is going to be a Daybreak. Obviously, we see this kind of play a little less often on Daybreak, but let's see what both players have in store for us. We're throwing it over to our commentators, ladies and gentlemen. We have Kalaris joined by Todd.
Thanks, guys. Game number 2 on the way here as we do jump onto Daybreak in just a second. ZVP is the flavor of the day. It actually might be the last ZVP of today, at least. But for now, we shall be jumping right on in as PartinG. Is he going to exhibit that again, or is he going to go for something a little more hotsy?
Well, you know, we started on Ohana, and I have no doubt PartinG must have took it because we see Daybreak as a second map. And as I mentioned earlier yesterday, Zergs, they like to pick Daybreak. When they're done one map, they're going to pick that map. So now the maps are made prior to the series, but I'm pretty sure it was Stephano's pick. So now we are on his turf. It's going to be his terms on this map, unless PartinG again chooses to cause chaos. Oh, actually, we see a pylon in the main again. Yeah. There is a possibility of a gate opener here.
There is indeed. As for now, we do have spawning down to our bottom left-hand corner here as our red Protoss. He goes by the name of SK2 PartinG. And spawning up to the top right, one of the foreign hopes left in this tournament. Give it up for EG Stephano Raid Call.
Do you know what SKT means?
SK Telecom T1? Well, yeah. Right? Like
too easy. But what does SK mean?
God.
South Korea.
Really? Is
no.
Why am I saying
rivals.
Samsung Khan? Oh my God. That was like a brain fart completely. Yeah, I watched StarCraft 1 for a long, long time, and it's been too long since I last saw it. Although I've been watching the Team Liquid TL. I can't remember the acronym for it, but that's been a lot of fun as well. Actually, watching some StarCraft 1 again.
Stephano actually delaying a little bit his good luck Hafen. This time he's using love instead of deer.
Yeah.
Mind games maybe. But he's going to go for first spawning pool followed by hatch. And
even Stephano flinched at that slightly. He was like, what? Pardon? But there you go. PartinG making waves apparently.
And you know, I was talking about this, going for Nexus first and then Forge to harsh them when we watched the last series between Mana and Nurture, because Mana never seemed to go for this type of build. He was scouting early on every time, going for a pylon down the ramp. And that build by PartinG is really good against a player like Stephano, who will never be aggressive, basically. Yeah. If you have to face, say, a pool 9 or a pool 10, you're going to be in a lot of trouble if you do the build that PartinG is doing right now. But if you face a regular build, you're just going to be fine, and you're going to have everything quicker than if you went for Forge first.
That's true. And with that, you know, the gateway is now on the way. Photon cannon going down as well here. Stephano sends in a few more lings than we actually anticipated here, I would think, here on this first map.
Actually, no. In the previous game, he went for only 2 links, and these links are early. They were down the ramp before the cannon started, which is how you can know that they can get in there, supposedly, especially since there is 6. I mean, he will lose 2. Oh, PartinG sees it with the probe he had at the watchtower here. He's going to throw down 2 cannons, and he should be fine. Nice read here. Yeah,
very, very nicely done indeed. That one cannon really, really just getting in there at the very, very last second, warping on in. And with that, Stephano now, he's going to try and poke again, but the second pylon goes down once again. 25 minerals lost, but still, this is a good situation for PartinG to be in, really blocking off his opponent.
And it was so smart by PartinG not to cancel the second pylon he made here, because he needed it. If he had cancelled that, I'm sure Stephano would have run in there before PartinG could remake the 2 pylons. So very smartly done here, and nice hold. I can tell you with certainty, if it was me playing, it would not have gone this well.
Oh, well, you know, probe does end up dying off. He did get confirmation of the third, I believe. So the scouting has been done at the third, not necessarily the natural, but you can pretty much assume that that is down as well, since the other one was only just morphing in now. And with that, Cybernetic Core will finish up in just a sec here for PartinG. And now, once again, we will see where his decision-making goes. Where is his first bunch of gas going to go? And he's actually going for the third gas geyser once again. So this could be... this is a little earlier than it was in game number 1.
Yeah, a big tell to know whether or not he's going for this push again is the timing of the robo. So now it's pretty early again. He's chrono boosted his stalker out before. He's supposed to follow this up with a very quick sentry, but it kind of feels like he's a little bit short on gas this game.
And yeah, I mean, technically you do see some of these Immortal All-ins with an extra gas, actually a 4th gas, but you know, that's to get out wild amounts of sentries very, very quickly. I mean, he will add it eventually, but...
He does get the sentry right after the Stalker, but he's gonna have to start +1 very soon here, I guess. Okay, he does start the +1.
Yep.
Just now he's gonna have about 100 gas when his Robo finished to start the first Immortal. He's not supply blocked. PartinG right now is doing the build as well as can be.
Yeah, and he's just going to spread out these gateways by the look of things eventually to make it even harder for his opponent to really notice this. But behind this, Stephano is grabbing himself an extra double gas. Zergling's going to poke forwards and see the Chrono Boost on the Robo facility and really giving him a good indication that this is probably going to be some kind of Immortal play once again.
And how did Stephano know? Wow, that's such a nice read here, sending in those Zerglings. He didn't even sacrifice a single Overlord. He saved his Overlords. He didn't have to send an Overlord in to die against the Stalker. So now, I mean, that can play a big role in this game. Yeah. And we see Stephano droning a lot more. He's gonna start speed. He's getting an Evolution Chamber, which you don't particularly need against this. So he might try for something here. Oh, he's gonna get Missile Attack level 1. And I think this should get up on time to maybe, at least in the middle of the push. He's going might end up affecting things a lot here. Yeah,
it should be able to. As long as he can delay a little bit right in the middle of the map, it's either going to finish up as PartinG gets to his bases, when, if he's delaying. But if not, it will finish during the fight sometime. And that's going to be a really, really nice little tool for Stephano to actually utilize against this army. But still, it's going to be very, very tough to defeat this. With the addition of a Mothership Core and Time Warp, oh, hello. Yeah. It can be very, very hard, but Hydralisks are a pretty cool choice.
Yeah, they can do very good against this unless he loses them before he has his critical counts. And Tefel actually plays a lot with Hydralisks, and he's very good at holding those Immortal pushes because he gets only Lynx and Hydralisks. He doesn't have Roaches, so those Immortals, they're not going to do nearly as well. But yeah, we had PartinG here throw down a Twilight Council, so he might be faking this.
Yeah,
he's still making probes. Yeah. He has 21 probes at his natural, 16 in the main. In the previous game when he did that push, he had 16 and 16. So I think he's faking it right now.
But Stephano is taking a 4th down to the bottom right-hand corner, assuming that it would never be spotted, even if he went for an Immortal All-In anyway. But this is wild right now, because that is a very, very odd choice to make here.
Stephano's read here is perfect. Yeah. He knows that since PartinG, I mean, in the previous game, at 9:30, PartinG was in front of Stephano's 3rd base. In this game, he's moving out at this time, so I think Stephano realized that something's wrong. He must be making probes. He's going to try to take a 3rd, and immediately he throws down a 4th base. He gets a couple of Hydralisks to be safe, and he starts running up again.
I think one of the things that Stephano has to take into account there is that sometimes Korean Protosses like PartinG, like Rain, for example, can go for a 3rd base and then put on quite a lot of mid-game pressure with Blink and +2 as well. It's a very, very potent composition that some Zergs do not prepare for well enough. So will Stephano if that comes?
And Stephano right now is moving across the map with a couple Hydralisks. This feels very ambitious, considering the amount of units PartinG has. I think he's going to fake an attack here. He should definitely be pulling out of here as he does not have speed yet. And we have a War Prism in the main here.
Yeah, nice little bit of poking potential here, but the Hydralisk should be able to come back and deny this. He has lost a little bit of mining time in the grand scheme of things as well. But Hydralisks doing their job happily. But PartinG now, I mean, he has full reads on his opponent. He knows that Hydralisks are there. No. So he's getting the Robo Bay out. He's going to get the Colossi with the double Robo production, in fact. And going up +2 weapons already, it's an alright position for him to be in.
And we have 12 drones on the way. Infestation Pit as well. Could we see a Roach, Hydralisk, and Viper composition again? We saw Stephano use this against Terran yesterday and having decent success with it.
Yeah, it's a very, very scary composition, especially if he's getting those Vipers out this quickly, if he goes up to Hive straight away. The problem is that PartinG right now is dedicating so much of his defense to the big, bulky units of Colossus. They are going to get pulled way out of position, and once they are dead, Gateway is not really going to handle it against Roach Hydra.
Yeah, the thing is, Hive hasn't started. PartinG, he might hit a big timing here, pre-Viper. You know, he's a brilliant player. He has a lot of sentries. He can just send a lot of hallucinated Phoenix. Oh, hold the phone. We might have.
Yeah, Photon Overcharge on the way here, just pushing those Hydralisks back. So not going to be going for it now. But there is now the Hive. Double Colossi production is on the way here. And, well, he sees this. PartinG now knows his timing window.
And I think he might hit with just a couple Colossus. He's getting 2 more, he already has 1. He might just go with 3, he might try to go for 5, but he might be a little bit too late. I mean, Vipers will change everything, but keep in mind, Vipers, as soon as they're out, they're not going to have enough energy to immediately start abducting. So Stephano is going to have to buy time. He's going to have to stay in a good position. Right now, with Vipers, he cannot fight without Vipers. He has a lot of Hydralisks. There is 3 Colossi. He will get wrecked if he did.
He needs to start preparing his evolution chambers as well here so he can drain that energy from them. Actually, he's going for 2 hatcheries for the macro capabilities as well as trying to expand from this point on. But Burrow is on the way as well. We do have 2 observers out here for PartinG though, so he should be okay against that kind of play, unless it's trying to block some bases off.
We have PartinG adding 3 gates and a lot of Binos in his... Oh,
well, yeah, it looks like they will actually just... I don't know why Stephano's being able to sit here for this long, as the force wheels do go down, separating a lot of those units. But at the same time, you know, Stephano did get a lot of free Stalkers at the very beginning of this engagement. But, Stephano has lost so much, and the Vipers are not... Where are the Vipers?
They are nowhere to be seen just yet. Stephano losing all of his units right now, going to try to replace them, but...
Yeah, those Colossi, they don't really have that much ground support here. The Stalkers were all up to the top left trying to catch Hydralisks, and those Colossus, very, very vulnerable. If Stephano actually gets a good flank in here, he could clean this up, but he does lose his 5th potential base as he starts +3 weapons, and it's just Roach Hydra now. He's going to close the gap, and that's the problem with not having that much gateway forces. He will be able to tag down 1 or 2 of them. 1 does die, but the Blink Stalk is coming along to save, as well as more Colossus on the way here. Oh god, it's so close. Look how many Stalkers he has.
Yeah, Stephano definitely did not have enough here. Just great raid by PartinG to engage at the 12 o'clock position here. He was able to kill a lot of units immediately. As I said, without Vipers, Stephano cannot win here. I think Stephano was bluffing. He was just trying to appear stronger than he actually was.
There you go, GG. PartinG is looking...
He called Stephano's bluff, man.
Yeah, really did. That is a tough thing to swallow there for Stephano, as PartinG playing very, very well here, really hitting the timings very, very strongly. Hallucinated Phoenix giving him even more confirmation as to how well his timings can work out.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, okay, cool stuff. So, we shall throw it over to the analysis desk here with Jurosar, QXE, and Harstam.
All right, guys, we have a 2-0 at the moment to PartinG. Stephano on the ropes a little bit here in the round of 12, the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. Game number 2 on Daybreak. That game, of course, started off with something we don't often see from Stephano. He brought a fair number of Lings across the map early on to try and see if he could sneak into the base of PartinG.
Yes, this little move made PartinG cancel his gas, which is actually quite big if you want to do an Immortal Win. I don't think PartinG actually wanted to do an Immortal Win, because it's honestly quite bad on Daybreak. It's very open. It's a very big map. You have to walk quite some time, so you give the opponent more time. What I think PartinG was aiming for is to bait a Roach Max or a Roach all-in. 60 drones, 4 gas, building a lot of Roaches, and he went for the so-called counter build by getting a lot of sentries, early Immortal. So it looked like an Immortal win, but it actually wasn't.
Sure. And we actually had... because it wasn't Immortal All-In, he went straight into Twilight Council, of course. We then, you mentioned, he was trying to see if he can bait that Roach play from Stephano, but that didn't work, as we saw, because Stephano went straight into the Hydralisk. How did that decision work out for Stephano, and what was it that he saw that stopped him from going for those Roaches?
I think Stephano was thinking that it was going to be a Roach Max, and I don't think he felt comfortable holding it. Do you ever change anything mid-series if you don't feel you can hold it like this?
It really depends a lot on the scenario and just who I'm playing against. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to.
I think it's really hard to do so, but Stephano was known to play Roach Hydra and Wings of Liberty as well, so...
All right, well, we're going to take a quick look at the replay at this point in time. This is around the 14-minute mark where we can actually see a pretty major engagement here once the Colossi have joined the army composition.
One thing that I want to point out here that was kind of hard to pick up on during the game is Stephano goes onto Hydras because of what he sees from PartinG, the Immortal composition. PartinG goes double robo straight into Colossus, and then Stephano needed to back up and kind of play defensive on creep on his side of the map. What PartinG does, he moves down his ramp with his Immortal army and baits Stephano into trying to attack him. He's making sure that Stephano thinks that his army is weak. That kind of baits Stephano into staying on his side of the map. Then he immediately pushes down with his Colossus and pushes Stephano. Keeps going until he can catch Stephano out of position and force a battle before the ever-crucial Vipers enter this unit composition and make it much stronger against these Colossus.
Yeah, we can see the Colossi are doing so much damage here. Of course, no abduct from Vipers, like you mentioned, QXC, and this army just gets completely split apart.
Yeah, I think if this battle wouldn't have happened, Stephano would have been in a great position. With double Robo Colossi production, it's really hard to switch into Storm because of your not so high gas income from 3 bases. So you won't be able to get High Templar out as quickly as you really would like against the Viper. So there would be a big timing for Stephano to hit with 4 or even 3 Vipers, abduct 3 to 4 Colossi and basically crush PartinG's army, or at least deny him the 4th base for a long time while tagging to Brute Lords and Corruptors and taking his 5th base.
All right, well, we'll see what Stephano can do to try and rally back. He's currently 2-0 down. We're going into game number 3, which is Cloud Kingdom. Over to your commentators. We have Kalaris and Todd.
Thanks very much, guys. Game number 3, Cloud Kingdom, our map. PartinG, is he going to wreck face once again, or is Stephano going to step up to the plate and take himself that first victory in this best of 5? We shall see, indeed. As for now, both these players getting loaded up and good to go. Round of 16, Intel Extreme Masters World Championship, the first ever premier part of the Swarm tournament. It's going to be so difficult for Stephano here, but PartinG, he holds all the cards.
Yeah, this is big. Whoever wins this tournament will be remembered.
Yeah. Morrow was remembered forever for his first Wings of Liberty Premier Tournament at the Intel Extreme Masters, actually, a while ago. I believe it was at Gamescom. But for now, we are jumping in to hit this match as we do our spawning down to the bottom left-hand corner here as our red Protoss. He goes by the name of SKT's PartinG. And spawning up to the top right. Once again, one foreign hopes left in this tournament. He goes by the name of E.G. Stephano's Raid Call.
And PartinG went for the good luck have fun yo. Stephano replied yo. PartinG is not trying to sound gangster, actually. Yo in Korean, when you add it at the end of a sentence, is the respectful way of saying things. That's how you address the elders, usually. So yeah, PartinG here, just showing respect to Stephano, I think.
Seems so. And, you know, I mean, Stephano, it's hard not to in terms of his gameplay abilities. Time and time again, the most revered of foreign players in the Korean scene, I should think. I mean, I've never been over to Korea, of course, but that is what you hear time and time again from people in interviews, for example. And I'm sure you can echo these sentiments.
Oh, yeah, totally. But coming back to the games, here we had PartinG go for the pylon down his ramp and scouting right after it. As suspect in the previous game, he saw the 6 links coming in and he wasn't expecting it out of Stephano. A nice block, by the way, right now going on down. Yeah, he wasn't expecting Stephano to go for 6 links like this. Stephano is a guy who usually always gets 2 links and then only drones until the 7th minute or something. Yeah. So right now, he felt maybe a little bit scared of some type of a rush. He did not want to go again for the 17 Nexus followed by 4. So he went for a pylon down his ramp. He scouted behind this, and he threw down the Nexus followed by a Forge. Much safer. He was able to scout, see he's safe, and now he should have his cannon perfectly on time to defend against those Zerglings.
Yeah, just making sure that everything is calm and patient here from PartinG. That Nexus will finish up in a little bit, placing his probe in a bit of an interesting location actually here to eventually probably go for a scout at the 3rd base, or even use that for something maybe a little hidden, who knows. It will be a bit weird though to hear against Stephano. As Queens do pop, lava goes down, and Stephano here, what can he really do? Does he need to tech up more speedily to the Hive to grab some Vipers and then deal with PartinG, or is it just a case of making sure that the dreaded 1-1-1 is not coming and then being able to play out from there?
Yeah, very good question. I actually think what he did was smart. Going for Hydralisk and Zerglings was smart. It was what followed. He invested a lot into those Hydralisks and Zerglings. His economy was not nearly as good as if he had known that PartinG was not going to go for any aggression. And PartinG, he just fooled Stephano completely by trying to reproduce the exact same build as he did in the previous game, until Stephano finally realized it, threw down the fourth base, and started drawing up again. But I mean, the damage had already been done at this point. PartinG, he had been building probes as well as army, so then he ended up having enough army to defend against anything. And yes, Stephano just trying to appear stronger than he was, instead of camping, waiting for the Vipers to get out to have a realistic chance to defend against what PartinG was going to throw at him.
I have to agree. PartinG's build in Game 2, again, it had all the hallmarks of that Immortal push. Anything that Stephano would have seen from that point on, unless he'd have spotted the Twilight Council a little earlier, would really said to him, it's an Immortal all-in, okay, but PartinG transitioned out of it so seamlessly onto the third base. It was so clean, it was ironed out, and Stephano going up against this, well, slightly supply blocked here to kick things off, but he's going to go for speed. He's going to make sure that no little pokes can hurt him early on, and then from that point, should be able to transition.
And PartinG, he's going for something completely different here. He's not taking third gas, and we are 6 minutes 30. He's gone for 2 Stalkers already, and he's going to try to get the Overlord just above his Forge here. And this is going to work. He's going to kill it quite with some ease here. And this is going to supply block Stephano, who's already starting 2 extra Overlords, but he's going to be supply block for some time. And Stephano is going for 2 Evolution Chambers himself. So his economy is going to be much weaker at this point than where it should be. I mean, he's on 39 drones against the 39 probes of PartinG, and PartinG throws down a third Nexus. This should have rang a bell. PartinG, he made a very quick Mothership call. When you do that, you either want to be very aggressive or take a quick third, because he's going to charge on energy. And
interestingly, Stephano here, he's actually just committing full to a Zergling mid-game here with melee upgrades and Carapace. So he's going to deny this with the 20 Zerglings that are on the way here. But from that point on, he is making very wild, different changes into what he's actually going to utilize against PartinG. And, well, there goes the recall. Nicely done there, saving all of his units. But the third can be under a lot of threat by a flood of Zerglings here.
And PartinG's build is just beautiful. Everything lines up perfectly. He throws down the third Nexus, he starts running it off. He already has a pylon in position on the high ground to make a cannon down there. And behind this, he's going to add a robotics facility in his main, a Twilight Council as well. And he should be safe against any type of aggression because of his wall here.
Yeah, that cannon is so well placed. There's really no way to get at that with Zerglings alone. So PartinG, in terms of setting up his third, and Stephano supply blocked again here. In terms of setting up his third base, PartinG is positioning his buildings so perfectly against the Zergling base force.
And PartinG is now going to transfer a couple probes to his third. He's on 52 probes to 55 drones. I mean, at 9 minutes, Zerg is supposed to be very far ahead on the worker counts, but now PartinG is just causing all of these mistakes out of Stephano, which is going to put him in a great position in this game. If he goes for a timing later on with Blink, lots of Stalkers.
Stephano looks a little bit rocky here. I mean, he's going for the Spire, which is admittedly in any matchup apparently a pretty darn good choice, as Mutalisks are playing a very pivotal role in this tournament thus far. But PartinG is sending out those hallucinated Phoenixes. He's gonna see it very quickly, and with that, he's already got Blink on the way. He has the potential to transition onto Templar Archives. He has all the tools and transitions necessary to deal with this potential.
And PartinG is going to have to make a choice here. How do you deal with those mutas? He actually just looked over, I'm watching with his vision on my screen. He just looked over in Stephano's base as to what buildings were being made. He saw the infestation pits. He saw the Spire. I think he's going to send an extra Phoenix. He might not be able to see whether whether it was really an infestation pit or not, or another building.
I wonder if he's going for ridiculously fast Broodlords with this. I mean, the infestation pit just finished up. Is he going to morph in the Hive? I mean, it's kind of up in the air here right now. It'd be a little bit weird, but the Zerglings are going to come back. Just make sure that they're defensive for now. But behind this part, and once again, Stephano is supply blocked. This is not at his fault, though. This is at the fault of, you know, the Overlords actually dying off here.
Don't blame the Overlords, man. And PartinG, he's chosen to go for extra gates. He's getting a Robo Bay. He feels safe enough against Muta play. I mean, he's getting Blink. He's going to have plus 2 again. He has his Mothership Core with almost full energy, so he's going to have a couple Photon overcharge if he wants to defend. And right now, it looks like he wants to at least try to attack against Stephano here.
And 26 Zerglings on the way, as well as 5 more Mutas. This, I mean, Stephano's going to have great upgrades. There's no denying that. His upgrades are going to be fantastic because of the double evolution chamber that he's had pumping all game long. But as soon as that 2-2 finishes, I mean, if PartinG hit now, before that 2-2 was actually there, and he got some really good force fields down, which he is very, very capable of, he could apply some good pressure here. But the map is relatively open.
And the Muda's trying to take down the Mothership Core.
Oh, well, the Mothership Core dies, but the recall does occur. That was had to be very, very speedy there from PartinG, as for now he does start up his Stargate.
And whoever was wondering what happens if a Mothership Core dies while you're recalling, you just got your answer. Your units still TP back home. And Stephano behind this is going to start a very quick hive, so I don't think he's going to commit on Mudas here. And he's just going to try to do some damage with what he has now, which is Lynx and Mudas. And in the meantime, tech to higher tech.
It's a really good composition to say to your opponent, I have full control of the middle of the map. Now, if you want to try and push out, there's always the threat of a counterattack. I'm going to hold you back in a defensive posture on your 3 bases for a while whilst I grab my hive, I grab my essential upgrades, and then probably go up to Great Aspire here for him. I mean, he still has the option to go to Ultralisk if he wants to with the melee upgrades, but...
Which would be excellent, because PartinG, he doesn't have... Does he have any Immortals, actually? He doesn't have a single Immortal, and he has only Stalkers and Colossi. They don't do very well against Ultras, let me tell you. I think PartinG is looking to hit a big timing here with 180 supply and maybe +3, whereas Stephano is... He has to buy time, and I think this is going to hit before Stephano can have enough time to have higher tier units, whereas his hive is actually about to finish. He's going to have... PartinG's picking off a couple of Mutas here, but he has to be careful. Remember, somebody got overeager in the middle of Newkirk City, blinking forward, got his Stalkers caught.
That's not so good there. The Zerglings are actually going for the surround. He needs to place down good force fields. One does go down preemptively, basically, just to push those back. And for now, 3-3. And the Ultralisk Cavern is on the way here for Stephano. This can be such a fearsome combination.
If he can get them out, and PartinG does not see it coming, if he doesn't have enough Archons to tank, his army is going to get flanked and killed instantly. Yeah. So PartinG, I was expecting him to hit right about now, to be honest. I'm not sure. He's retaking his time. He thinks he's Mudas. He still thinks he's facing Mudas. Look at his expansion. He has like 8 cannons there. You know, Koreans, they have been countering Mudas this way. They make a lot of cannons on one of their base. They fortify it, and then they don't mind going for the base trade. They attack with an unkillable army by the opponent, and then they bring back enough units to defend against the Mutas.
And a nice blink forwards there will catch a few Mutas for his troubles, and he has scouted out the Ultralisk Cavern now. He's going to start a Fleet Beacon in response to this. Tempest and Void Rays are very, very strong against Ultras, but there's 5 on the way. These Ultras could do significant damage, along with the Infestors that have already got Pathogen Glands. Chitinous Plating on the way for the Ultras as well. All of these small little ingredients make for a very, very powerful cake.
And PartinG's army right now is only Stalkers, basically. This is not going to do much against Ultras, but Ultras alone, they need some support units. So Stephano is actually getting 2 Infestors right now in support. And I think if Stephano waits for 3-3 upgrades, he has Chitinous Plating, and he attacks, this could do a lot of damage.
He's going to roast a few Zerglings here. They do take out all the cannons, which is a very, very nice little thing, but a lot of Zerglings did die in the process. That makes it so that Stephano has indeed lost more than his opponent. He's just trying to soften up that 4th base, so then eventually he can try and run over it, but the Great Aspire is on the way. I don't think he's seen the amount of... oh, nice pick-off there on one of the Infestors. But yeah, he hasn't seen the amount of Ultralisks, but he does know that they are a threat, and they will be on the way in a bit.
Yeah, and I think Stephano is preparing a big flank here on PartinG's force. This is where everything gets decided. PartinG just took his force. Oh, he's actually trying for a run by, but PartinG was ready. Oh my god, nice
storm. Time Warp and Storm means bye-bye Zerglings. As for now, extra Mutalisks die off here to the Photon Overcharge. Where have the Ultralisks gone? They're dancing around in the middle of the map, not really doing too much. But Stephano has got 7 more Ultralisks on the way. No sentries, no!
He actually helped him, because those sentries will be useless in a fight.
Yeah.
And right now, Stalkers chasing on Ultras, not a sight you're going to see every game. Stephano's waiting for his reinforcements to engage.
And there's Ultras still trying to cleave up what they can here, but the Stalkers doing a pretty darn good job of them. 4th base might end up dying. Is it going to go down? No, it will not. As PartinG here cleaning up everything in his wake. But another 8 Ultralisks on the way. Stephano has infinite money by the looks of things.
And one Ultralisk here doing a lot of damage to Stalkers, but I mean, PartinG has so much.
Yeah, this is very, very difficult here. As for now, Stephano has just been caught between a rock and a hard place. The Stalkers just really, really ripping into this army. It's all been separated from the very get-go. Had Stephano actually consolidated all of his forces into one big lump, maybe they would have had more success. But the blink forwards once again, more Ultralisks die off. Zerglings actually flood on in, but those Archons at the back are going to do a lot of damage to those. And the Kaiser Blades of the Ultralisks with 3-5 upgrades with that Kaiser's plating are just not enough here. PartinG is continuously killing this off. Stephano tries to remax, but there's extra Stargates going down for, as well as Immortals. PartinG is doing really, really good work here.
Stephano is not out of it just yet. He's remaking a lot of Zerglings, Ultralisk. He's on 171 supply. He needs to wait for the reinforcements, but I think he really wants to flank this army right now. He knows it's now or never, basically. If he waits more, PartinG is going to go into full retreat, or he's just going to regroup, be able to max out, and from there, it's just that much harder for Stephano to take on this army.
And Stephano knows he didn't kill his opponent's fourth, so he knows right now that their incomes are very, very even at this point. Stephano might have a little bit more thanks to the drones, but ultimately another storm goes down here, catching a lot of those Zerglings. The Fungal locks a lot of that army into place, so the Ultralists are going to get a good amount of cleaving going down, but the blink up, the Colossus moving up the hill as well, makes it very hard for the pursuit.
And I'm actually surprised PartinG is reinforcing with more Stalkers here.
Oh, blink down once again here. It's an absolute dance of Ultralisks and Stalkers. Get away from the Ultralists, guys. They're really not the best friends for you. As for now, still the Stalkers trying to prevail, but the Ultralists managed to get through to the Colossi. They're microing back. He really wants to take them all out. More blinking once again. More Stalkers warping in right next to all of this. And the reinforcements for PartinG are sort of dwindling here. Stephano, once again, 5 Ultralisks on the way. 34 Zerglings. Relentless reinforcement here from the Zerg.
And you know, PartinG has been countered here just because he's not playing this right. He's making a lot of Stalkers against Ultras and Lynx. You need Zealots and Archons, man.
Yeah, they need to, and even then they need to be all in the right place at the right time. One Immortal gets caught out in the middle of absolutely nowhere. Stephano with a 60 or so supply lead here, whilst PartinG tries to go for a little bit of harassment, trying to hold his opponent back whilst he recuperates the losses that he's incurred. But still, Stephano's income is phenomenal. PartinG's is all right as well, but he's just producing high Templars who can get more Archons. And where are the air units? He has a Stargate. Why not a Void Ray or something?
Well, apparently that Mothership Core thinks she can do a Void Ray's work. But I think Stephano is going to move in for the kill here. I mean, he's skilled enough. He can remax behind this when he starts losing units. And
this is looking very, very grim here for PartinG in game number 3. The time warp goes down, but those Ultralisks don't give a damn. They are just going to plow straight on, bulldozing the rest of the army here of PartinG. It's a good position for PartinG, admittedly, but in terms of choking up some of those Ultralisks, but you can't handle the wave of Kaiser Blades that now barrels down onto the third here. The Mothership Core trying its best to tickle away, and the Ultralisks may end up dying off in the grand scheme of things, but 160 supply to 60.
And PartinG never...
There you go,
GG. He never researched charge in this entire game, which he really needed.
Good God, that was
his game to lose.
Yeah. But in the end, Stephano prevails here in game number 3, keeping his efforts alive in the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship round of 16. These games already have been just crazy, and that one really was down to the wire. So guys, we're going to jump over to the analysis desk with Jorisar, QXE, and Harster.
All right, guys, Stephano pulling one back here against PartinG. He's currently 1-2, doing a fantastic job during that game, and in the end, the Honey Badger Ultralisks managed to take it for him, plowing through into the third base position. Again, a very interesting opening here. Of course, we had a little bit of no Ling harassment, really, getting through by Stephano there because of some really nice stuff going on at the third base of PartinG.
Yeah, it opened up with PartinG doing 3 Stalker pressure, then recalling back, and as QXE mentioned while we were not live, during the game he said he can't really defend his third now with the Nexus Cannon, can he? And at that moment we looked at the third and saw one of the best Sim cities we have seen so far in this tournament, walling in the one cannon completely and the other one so that it can only be attacked from one side.
We can show that briefly when we get into the replay if you like.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah, in a sec.
And yeah, Stephano built a ton of links, 30, 35, 15 larvae wasted, which could have been 10 or 12 drones. You obviously need a few links for map control. After that, he went for Mutas, but normally when you go Mutas, you get pretty late Evo chambers. So you either start 1-1 when your Mutas are out, or you start just before if you want to play it a bit more safe, I guess.
Yeah, most of the time we've seen people go Mutas. Mutas are the unit composition. Stephano didn't really use them like that, though.
No. Stephano, like you mentioned, used them as a bait to get out the Stalker army. The big Stalker ball isn't that good against Ling Ultra, like we saw a little bit later in the game. Ling Ultra Infestor, the unit composition Stephano was aiming for.
We also had a situation where the units were forced back by a pack of Lings from Stephano, preventing PartinG from scouting the 4th for quite a while. How much of an impact did that have on the game?
I think the moment the Mutas came out, PartinG had a 20-25 seconds timing window to actually kill the 4th. But because he didn't know it was there, he didn't go there. He went to the... I think he took the watchtower and checked the other fort and was like, hey, he doesn't have a fort. Like, you're not going to move out on the map if he doesn't have a fort.
All right, well, we're going to hop into the replay, guys. This is just after the 20-minute mark, and we have an absolutely massive engagement out in the middle of the map where we have Ultras used for the first time.
We can see here, again, going back to what Harsem was saying, PartinG's army is just not appropriately equipped to deal with Ultralisk, especially once Stephano adds those fungal growth, locking these units in place. We can see they're absolutely decimated by Ultralisk. PartinG really needed to recognize this transition. Once he realized that Stephano wasn't making more Mutalisks and was already on 2-2 upgrades, kind of 15 minutes or so into the game, he needed to recognize that this was a very powerful potential thing. Even scouted the Ultralisk Cavern with a Phoenix at one point, but did not really see it or recognize what was happening and make that Immortal transition necessary.
Yeah, I feel like PartinG just didn't have the composition. I would have loved to see a second Robo go down a lot earlier and maybe start producing Void Rays the moment he saw Ultras. With 3 Void Rays, you're not going to cut it, but if you keep on producing Void Rays after a while, when you trade off Stalkers for economy, you're going to be able to get up to 10 Void Rays, and 10 Void Rays against basically no anti-air is really strong.
All right, so there we go. Stephano taking a game back there against PartinG. Can he do the same once more and force this match into a game number 5? Guys, you've seen what Stephano's play looked like when he just won that game. How do you think he's going to stack up?
I'll be really interested to see if he chooses to do a similar kind of strategy again, that kind of Ling Ultralisk play. But at the same time, we could definitely see him go back into Roach Hydra. I think PartinG is going to be more on his toes. He maybe let his guard down a little bit in that game, kind of assumed that he knew what his opponent was going to do, and ended up getting caught unawares.
All right, so let's see what happens. We're going to hop into a game number 4 in just a moment. But first, we're going to head to a quick commercial break. When we come back, guys, game 4 of Stephano versus PartinG. Don't miss out.
Nice laptop.
Thanks, it's an Ultrabook convertible.
All right, settle down. What's all this then? It's a laptop and tablet in one.
Crikey!
Is it powered by coal and steam?
No, it's powered by Intel.
Suddenly, everything else seems old-fashioned. The Ultrabook Convertible. A laptop when you need it, a tablet when you want it.
professional-grade communication tool. The choice of professional teams. Perfect stream viewing experience. Chosen by online streamers. Easy-to-use voice messenger service. Chosen by over 12 million gamers.
Communication is always vital when competing in tournaments. Winning a match requires perfect coordination. You cannot win by yourself.
Raid Call. Communication for winners.
Guys, and welcome back to the caster's desk here as Stephano tries to recuperate his position in this tournament. He's down, but he's certainly not out.
Yeah, definitely. He was, I think, losing the previous game, but PartinG, making a couple mistakes. Stephano with the nice flank, with those ultras, was able to come back and take the victory. He now has a chance. I actually think this was good for PartinG, but Stephano, he had well stabilized in this game, and it was still very open in the end, going for the good moves and winning.
Yep, well, jumping on to game number 4 here. Newkirk City is our map to get it all going. People in the crowd, hope you're doing well here. Hope you're enjoying the games at the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship round of 16 between PartinG and Stephano. So let's hop on in. Spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner as our red Protoss. He goes none other by the name of PartinG. Bringing himself back in pretty impressively. We do have spawning in the bottom left-hand corner as our blue Zerg. He goes by the name of Stephano.
And Newkirk City, we've seen a couple nice games on this map. I'm actually curious why Star Station is getting no love.
Aww.
Everybody's vetoing Star Station. I've seen it only one time so far in this tournament being played.
Not the most commonly picked maps here. As for now, well, I think Star Station has a really, really hard third to take. Is this something that you would agree with? Or?
Yeah, it's more difficult, but if you're Protoss, it has a Protoss overlay.
Yeah.
So you feel at home. You have to take it.
Yes. I agree. Good luck, have fun, Zerg, man. Okay.
I love how they're mixing it up. You know, the mind games start in the chat already. And we had PartinG open with a very similar build here again. Pylon down his ramp. He's going to send a scout immediately. He does not want to be tricked by Stephano, but I mean, I would have rather this game if he went again for the Nexus 17 without a scout, but maybe this map, not having played, did too much. He wants to play extra safe, so now he's going to go for the block for some time, and he hasn't thrown down a forge, so I don't think he's going to go for the pylon block here. Yeah, he does let the hatch go down.
Yep, and that Nexus goes down behind all of this as well, so PartinG playing very, very economically here to kick things off in game number 4. And I think, you know, PartinG will look back at game number 3 and be like, if only I'd have taken a few different decisions in my composition in terms of actually dealing with what Stephano was throwing at me. He has to look back at that as one of the best Protoss in the world and say, yeah, that was just down basically to my decision-making, I think, as opposed to his, really.
We do see Stephano for now not doing anything special. He's going to get his first queen out. And I think Stephano, every single time, he seems to want to get his queens out before making a third hatchery. He's gone for 2 links this game, so no 6 links craziness. He's just, I'm assuming, going to take control of the watchtower with one of them, scout all around the place with the other one, which might end up finding the probe. But I think PartinG's probe in the upper left corner here, he's going to stay hidden until, say, 4 minutes, 20, 30. Oh, yeah, actually, he's just going to go now. And he's going to try to confirm that there is indeed a third hatchery down. Except it's not going to be in the first place, he looks.
Nope, not at all. And that Zergling actually might sniff out that probe, and indeed it will. So that's going to be trailed for quite a long time here. As long as PartinG, yeah, Stephano realizes, and there we go. For now, just a little bit of gas being taken here from PartinG. Sound book, question mark, go. I just need to pause and then unpause. That fixes it instantaneously. As for now, he finishes his wall off back at home, does PartinG. So 7-8 score should be up and running in just a little bit.
And PartinG, he has a lot of options here. I think there is less of a chance we might see an Immortal push, but it's still always there with him. Maybe his target build could be good here. I mean, he knows Stephano is on 3 hatcheries already. He hasn't done it yet. Almost nobody will ever expect it out of him, even though they know he's capable of it. So he's actually going for the pylon up his ramp here. Will we see a robo, Kelaris?
We may do. I mean, it's always been in PartinG's repertoire. And with that, I mean, the third base that Stephano's actually taken, looking at the architecture at it, if you just have 3 force field in between that hatchery and that upper part there, as Adebisi is nicely showing us, then that is a really, really hard place for Stephano to actually defend against.
Yeah, and he's going for the robo indeed. He's going to go for a gas before the 6 minutes. I think we're going to have the 1-1-1 push again. And it's interesting that you mentioned that space between the overlay of the map and the hatchery, because he can put a time warp down there as well.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, as a Zerg, I wouldn't go in there if there is a time warp and PartinG has sentries.
Yeah, you'll be basically doomed there. It's almost as if that just taking the other location further away as your third would have been a better option. Even though it is further away and it's slightly harder to reinforce, it's still a scary, scary spot there, and PartinG might be reading into this perfectly.
Oh, and Stephano
he's
might
not going to see it.
Yeah, he's not.
Oh, just barely. I think he just barely scooted that. Yes, he did. Wow.
So right now he knows it's coming. He's going to have to make a choice again as to how he tries to defend this. We saw him before going for missile level 1 to really try and defend with at least some kind of upgrades. But in this game, he hasn't thrown down an evolution chamber just yet, so he's going to do it now, same time as his Roach Warrant. But I mean, can he get it on time this time? And he had gone for extra queens this game, and that's not going to help at all. He has 2 extra queens.
Yeah, it's going to be +1 missile attacks very, very quickly here for Stephano to try and deal with this. 42 workers. He has made 2 more, and actually he's queuing up some on the Nexus as well, so he might be going up to quite a few more here, just providing the Chrono Boost onto that Nexus. So we might just see, again, another fake out here from him instead of going for the full-blown attack.
And PartinG, his Warp Gate just finished and lined up perfectly with his gates, man. I just want to watch the replays and write down everything and just copy the build. And he's going for the Mothership Core right after starting his 3rd Immortal here, so yeah. So far it looks like, again, we're going to see aggression, but actually he's making a 17th probe for his expansion right now, so we'll see if he continues on making probes after that Mothership Core does come out.
Yeah, cancellation on the probe there, and for now 10 roaches are on the way. Stephano knows his weak spots. He knows that getting creep spread out in front of these bases and taking the engagement away from his third is so pivotal here. If he can take it way away from this architecture, then he's going to force PartinG to spend way more force fields than he wants to, and force him to make decisions that are going to really hinder this push.
And Stephano does not look like he wants to try with the Hydralisk approach to defend this. He's just going to go for Roach and Zerglings. He's getting speed right now for both of them. He's getting Zerg Missile attacks level 1 research, and he's going to have to buy some time. If he can, if PartinG does not do a lot of damage for the next 2 minutes, Stephano is going to be maxed.
Yep, and well, actually, I mean, if he does buy some time in the middle of the map here and now, then that +1 weapons will finish up before a proper engagement actually occurs. He wants to deny these pylons, but they are not going to be denied whatsoever as PartinG now seizes this location. And even next to this piece of architecture, he has a good spot to actually throw down some force fields. And he's now moving into a little bit more of a danger zone, as the map does open up. 2 spines placed nicely, but force field's going to rip this up, no problem. Oh, Zergling's actually floating in from the top as well. Connect with a little bit of those Immortals, but the Roaches still do not get the good surface area. Force fields galore litter this area, and for now, Stephano, I mean, there's more reinforcements coming out from PartinG, and he's picking up very nicely with the Warp Prism, so he is doing very, very well in terms of the aggression, but the sentries are almost all gone. All the force fields are almost all gone.
PartinG should have maybe pulled back a little bit here and regrouped, but he thought he had enough, and it does look like he has enough. Man, those force fields were perfect. PartinG could be a world champion at darts here.
Oh, and speaking of championship force fields, that's going to kill off a lot of drones. Roaches are going to flood in once again. He doesn't actually that many force fields to seal off those Roaches, but still he has that Warp Prism in his arsenal, as he will take out that 3rd expansion, and this is really, really tragic here for Stephano. If he goes out like this, it's 100 supply to 103. Stephano is trying desperately to make more Roaches, but the power of this 3 Immortal push is so strong.
And the thing is, behind this, PartinG is just going to mass on Stalkers, and he's going to have enough DPS to deal with almost any amount of army that Stephano can throw at him. Stephano is just making units himself. He's on 50 drones to 45 probes. And
is he going to let him up the ramp with all of his units actually sealed out here? Is that actually going to be the occurrence? No, he actually throws down the force fields in the middle of all of this, and even with all of those roaches, it's not going to be up. PartinG now takes the supply lead. These Immortals are dancing. Oh dear me, PartinG knows he is going to win. Congratulations, GG. PartinG moves on to the round of 8, exhibiting the Immortal dance for the first time.
Yeah, I've never seen it. It looks so funny, man.
Well, yeah, impressive stuff. So that is going to do it, guys, for this the round of 16, second match here, second best of 5. Stephano is unfortunately out here for foreign hopes, and another Korean moves into the round of 8.
Yeah. I'm very impressed by PartinG, to be honest. I thought that in the group stage he did not play as well as he can, but you know, he messaged me, told me he's been practicing, and it really showed today. He prepared mentally, he went into the match with some great builds, and he executed them perfectly, and except for that one loss, flawless play by him. He's going to be taking on Yoda in the next round, so that's going to be very difficult as well.
That's true. The Immortal all-in is actually something that has become even stronger here with the Mothership core. The time warp ability is very, very impressive. But for now, guys, we are done with this best of 5. We are going to send it over to Rachel on the main stage here for a little bit of an interview.
Thank you, guys. I just want you to stop and appreciate what you've done here, because this morning it was a little bit empty, and now almost every seat is filled. We have standing room only in the back because you and Stephano were so excited. How does that feel?
아침엔 사람들이 관객이 별로 없었는데 이제 스테파노랑 파팅 선수가 게임을 하니까 엄청 많이 와가지고 꽉 채웠는데 느낌이 어떤지?
일단 이렇게 많은 관중분들이 와주셔서 정말 감사드리고, 그리고 스테파노 선수와 재밌는 게임 한 것 같아서, 그리고 많은 관중분들 앞에서 재밌는 게임 보여드린 것 같아서 정말 기분 좋아요.
First of all, he's really honored to play in front of such a crowd, and he also is very happy to have won the game against Stephano.
You had an incredibly commanding lead in almost every game except for the third one. What was going through your mind when Stephano came out with all those Ultralisks?
모든 게임 세 번째 게임 빼고는 다 이겼는데, 세 번째 게임에서 이제 울트라를 뽑아가지고 이제 졌는데, 그때 심정 어땠었는지?
제가 3경기가 제가 유리했는데 제가 너무 흥분해가지고 3대 0이다 이런 생각에 러쉬를 많이 갔어요. 거기서 러쉬를 안 가고 모았으면 이겼는데, 멋지게 이기려고 가다가 끝났다 싶었는데 역시 스테파노 선수는 잘하는 선수여서 막혀가서 정말 놀랐어요.
He's really surprised because he actually thought he had already won that game. So he was really excited about a 3-0, probably a 0-0 victory. So he just went to Stephano with his army and then failed. So would he have just focused on more army supply and then go for a later push, he would have won?
Well, I guess that answers my question, but I still want to ask, at any point in this series, were you worried that you were not going to move on?
전체적으로 이제 게임을 하면서 뭐 질 수도 있겠다 이런 생각을 한 적도 있었나요?
그냥 진다고 생각은 한 번도 안 했어요.
No, he actually didn't think about that any time in any games.
Well, confidence is key. Congratulations on your victory. You will be moving on. Let's go back to our analysts and take a closer look at the game.
All right, guys. Well, we all know what happened there.
Knock, knock.
Choo, choo.
GG.
That was, I think that's pretty much sums it up, to be perfectly honest. He did it once. It worked. Did it again. It worked. So why not, I guess? And he's proven to us that the Soul Train is definitely still coming on strong in Heart of the Swarm.
Yeah, for sure. And we can take a look in the replay right now and just go into what PartinG's control makes this build so strong. So much stronger than if a player of lesser control were to do it. Really key to hit these force fields, trapping these units, eliminating, and a very nice time warp here.
Yeah, just an amazing play. The time warp first, and then still, well, I can force field it as well, I guess. 4 force fields to close off this area, 4 to close off the other one, and
the Warp Prism micro as well, still continuing to pick up sentries and making sure they get to the back. Beautiful micro here from PartinG.
Yep. PartinG doing a great job. This is all about efficiency. This is an army that should never die. It should never trade costs inefficiently. You put down those force fields, fight small groups of your opponent's army at a time. Lifting up with this, the Warp Prism helps distribute the damage to limit the amount of units that are actually falling. Leads into kind of this unstoppable force that took Stephano down. Very convincing.
And the question that raises is Roaches really the best counter to the Immortal all-in? Or we've been talking about it, Hydras, maybe even Swarm Host.
Yep. It definitely feels like with the introduction of Time Warp, the Mothership Core, it's becoming a lot more difficult to stop these, what was already a very difficult push to stop. The Mothership Core being an additional flying unit besides the Warp Prism. Usually you want the Warp Prism to stay on top of your army. You can use it to kind of scout out and see where your opponent is positioning, where you're going to need to reposition your own army to maximize the utility of those force fields.
Well, congratulations once again to PartinG, who takes that victory over Stephano. His next opponent in the bracket is going to be Yoda. Phenomenal play, I think everyone will agree, coming out of our Protoss there. And don't forget, if you've liked it and you think he's your player of the tournament starting tomorrow, an hour before the finals, the Sickest Nerd Baller vote is going to start on the IEM Facebook. Make sure you're there at that time so you can vote for one of these players who will win a customized hoodie, an Intel i7 processor, a Patriot memory, a Patriot gauntlet, and a custom spray-painted model of one of these.